15 under par for Steven Yeager, 15 under par for JJ Spawn, 16 under was a number needed to get into a playoff, and Nico Echavarria got into that playoff, Greg, after a very slow start. He bogeyed his first 2 holes of the day before making birdies on 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10. He would then make bogey on 11 and a couple more birdies coming in, including one more on 18. He had it all going in regulation. He was making big putts. He was pouring them right in the center. He was hitting every shot that he needed to post that 65.
Nico Echavarria had played some beautiful golf all week. He had only made 1 bogey heading into the final round. And I was looking through some of his shots and some of his scorecards, and he was a name I had circled as a player to watch heading into this final round before today, this morning. And that was the reason, because it was so consistent and so steady. Then he starts the day off with 2 bogeys. I'm like, oh, well, there goes that call. But something has changed with Nico Echavarria, and it's that when he went to the claw grip at the Zozo Championship, it changed his entire game. It's an amazing thing. And it was so evident in this final round where he's not perfect, right? He's making some mistakes, but he still believes he has a chance because he thinks he can hole putts. He thinks he can make putts. And just thinking that you can keeps you in it. And all of a sudden you start to see, well, a 4 in a row birdie streak from 7 to 10 really helps. But you're starting to see fist pumps, and you're starting to see some shots, some really good shots. But when he misses one, it's not the end of the world. He doesn't lose confidence. He doesn't think he's out of it. He just keeps going because he feels like he's a shooter that's about to get really hot. And so there's a completely different attitude in Nico Echavarria that I'm seeing, that I've seen since the Zozo Championship, where he thinks he can win. He thinks he belongs. And he thinks he's going to win. And I attribute so much of that to the putter and the putter improvement with that grip change.
Since the Black Desert Championship, Mark, that was 8 starts ago. So he's played 8 tournaments. He has a T11, 2 runner-up finishes, a T6, and a victory. He has been rolling since the fall.
You can make an argument that, honestly, the way he's played since then, he's one of the best players on the tour. I mean, but for a strange twist of fate in the playoff where he's on the green in 2 and Nick Taylor is well out of position. Granted, he's one of the best pitchers of the golf ball in the game, to me, Taylor, that is. You got the ascendancy, and all of a sudden, if you're Echavarria, you're looking at a run where you've won at Zozo in the fall, then you've had the runner-up down in Sea Island at the RSM. Now his first start of 2025, you win again. I mean, what a run of form this guy's on. But then I want to go back to 17. Like, there he is. He's playing well. He's a few under there on this backside. He's coming off birdie on 16. He's chasing, right? And even on 17, he leaves that flag alone and he hits the thing out there, if memory serves, somewhere out the right side of the flag, and makes the par 3 and moves on. So to me, it was, to Greg's point, almost a masterclass, because he trusts the fact that he can hit it to any place and still make a birdie. It's not like you have to go knock flag sticks over to make birdies. So, I mean, this is a guy who's coming into his own as a player. He is plenty accurate. He's not going to blow the socks off you distance-wise, but he's got a wonderful arsenal of weapons. And the way he's playing right now and what he showed here with a playoff loss again as 2 runners up in a row, man, this could bode very, very well for him for the rest of 25 and beyond.
Yeah, won't get a trophy this time, but he's got one recently, and certainly has to be just brimming with confidence. We're going to round out our foursome because I heard we got him. Do we have? Oh, yeah, here he comes in to save the day. It's Patrick McDonald. Hello, Patrick.
What's going on, guys? Great tournament. It's a shame that the Commanders and the Buccaneers had to go against this. All eyes were on the Sony Open, and I'm glad we're getting to talk about it.
Are y'all done your writing duties?
I think so. I'm kind of rereading some stuff right now, some statistics and all that. I think they're mostly right.
And year when I didn't see your face right off the top, Patrick, I thought that with Russ going down in flames, you were standing on some tall building somewhere.
Oh gosh, I mean, it felt like anyone could have won this golf tournament. It was just asking to be grabbed in the middle portion when Spahn and Jaeger were kind of thrown up over themselves ever so slightly, and I thought Russ was going to do it, but the putting.
That's not the only Russ. Yeah, two different Russes let you down this week, didn't you?
Oh my gosh! Don't get me going. I'm not going to blame Russell Wilson for what happened in Baltimore. I don't know if I'm even going to blame Mike Tomlin, even though everyone in Pittsburgh wants to. I understand that perspective. I'm going to blame the front office for now. Rick, I was looking through the Pittsburgh Steelers first round picks since like 2012, pretty much. TJ Watt's like the only guy who's on the team. And here's a trivia question.
Najee Harris?
He's on it, but he's gone next year, unfortunately.
Right.
Here's a trivia question for you guys. The Steelers won 2 playoff games in 2016. They won at home against the Dolphins, and then they went on the road and won in Kansas City. Can you name the 2 quarterbacks that they beat?
Oh, since 2016?
Kansas City was the number 1 overall pick, but to San Francisco, Alex Smith.
Correct.
Wow, Gregory.
Yes.
Great call.
That was a crazy time. Now, in Houston, they beat Houston?
Miami Dolphins.
Miami. Oh, gosh.
I will say his first name and last name begin with the same letter.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Not quite.
Too easy.
It's got to be. I have no idea.
It is Matt Moore.
Oh boy, the Matt
Legend.
Moore era. Yeah.
So
well, here's what I'll say. Steelers country. Let's weld. Maybe we'll get on next year. That was a little bit of a sidebar, but we're getting to Nick Taylor here, Greg, because Nick Taylor was on the verge of winning this golf tournament, a 4 birdie streak of his own, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then things got a little, dare I say, yippy along the way. Missed a couple of putts that were no joke. 4 feet, 6 inches. He missed that one. And he missed one from 3 feet, 11 inches. Now, in true Nick Taylor fashion, needing an eagle to get into the playoff on 18, he is long of the green at 2. He chips it in from 58 feet, 6 inches and solidifies that spot in extra holes.
Who is more clutch than Nick Taylor? I feel like I'm watching Ian Poulter in a Ryder Cup. Every time this guy gets in contention, he pulls off some kind of miracle shot. It really is remarkable when you think of the RBC Canadian Open, the WM Phoenix Open last year, and what he did this week. It's truly remarkable when he's in contention, but his back's against the wall. What he pulls out of the hat is remarkable. So I'm first of all just so impressed, and I thought that he had a chance when he got to 14 under through 11. He was hitting the ball beautifully. It's very clear that Nick Taylor has fixed something in his golf swing and gotten his ball striking back in order. And he was putting well. You know, he was making some really nice putts early on in this round. And then it's you mentioned the short ones. That was 14 and 15, Rick?
That's right.
Well, at 13, he missed a 11-footer as well. So, I mean, we shouldn't even have had a playoff if some of those go in, and it's not a far cry to say all of them could have gone in. So that was a little bit disappointing. And you think he's done, and then he misses the green on 18 and 2. Even if it stayed on, he's so far away. You feel like he has no chance. And next thing you know, Nick Taylor's holding the trophy after chipping in for eagle and then making birdie on the first 2 playoff holes with awesome little pitch shots and great putts. The guy's just, when he's good, he is really good.
I steered you in the wrong direction there. The shorties were missed on 15 and 16, so that 11 footer that he missed was on 14.
That was 14. Right, because it was 3 in a row that he could have had. That would have put him to 17 under.
Don't even need a playoff.
We'd be done.
Well, we weren't done. 2 holes in a playoff between Nick Taylor and Nico Echavarria. We have already described what has happened. They both made birdie on the first playoff hole. Nick Taylor gets up and down with a savvy little pitch on the second playoff hole, while Nico Echavarria was on the back edge in 2, but it took him 3 putts from there. Mark, I don't think that when those second shots were hit, I know for a fact when those second shots were hit, Nick Taylor was the dog, and Nico Echavarria was the favorite to win the Sony Open. And again, Nick Taylor pulls victory from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah, it's crazy how when you are in match play like that, our first in wins, or if someone gets the ball in there close, it just ratchets up the pressure on the shot that the competitor is over. But just to backtrack on Nick a little bit, I'd commented earlier on how what a great pitcher of the ball I thought he was. He is from British Columbia in Canada. And the Canadian national coach, Derek Ingram, he made a comment to me that has stuck with me for the longest time. He said, go and watch Adam Hadwin and Nick Taylor pitch or hit wedges, or chip or pitch or hit wedges. He goes, because they grew up in these wet conditions out there in the western half of Canada, and then Nick went to school at the University of Washington. He goes, they got a wonderful awareness of how the club interacts with the ground, because it can sort of cave in underneath you because of the dampness. And he goes, and so they're so crisp at contact. So when he had that pitch shot off that tidal eye the first go around, I was like, okay, well, this is a test, and he hit a good one. And then the second one, where the comment from the golf course was like, well, there's a bit more grass underneath the golf ball. I looked at this, I'm like, well, this could be next to automatic. And the guy hits it in there to, a few basically kicking, which then flips the script and puts the pressure on Echavarria, who, you're sitting there thinking, okay, I could perhaps 2-putt and win. Now, all of a sudden, you've got a 2-putt to get in the playoff, and you're looking at something over a hill, running away from you, beyond the flag, going further away from you. Yeah, it was kind of rough. It was rough for him to be in that situation. But in the end, I'm reminded of Jordan Spieth, who says to me on every short game shot, he's trying to hold it. So maybe if he'd had some Jordan about him to say, give this thing a bit of a go. If it rolls by the hole, at least you see what the ball does. That he may have been better served. But again, I'm armchair quarterbacking. It's a whole lot harder if you're the one with the rubber, with your hands on the rubber end of the grip, because pressure is a thing, and it's telling always, no matter what station of the game you play at.
Let me zoom out on the last 49 weeks for you, Patrick, on Nick Taylor here. Victory at the Phoenix Open. Throughout the year, he gets the nod from the RBC Canadian Open that he is now the logo. He's gearing up for a President's Cup in his country at the end of the year, and then he goes missing. The game falls off a cliff. He does not make the President's Cup team, and rightfully so. I don't think he should have been on that team. Shout out.
They wanted to try and,
yeah,
they were looking for every reason to select him, because he's tough. You see what he's like when he gets into that head-to-head stuff.
Shout out Captain Mike Weir for making a difficult decision. And then things start to get better in the fall, Patrick. The metrics turn around, and I think we are learning a lot, and we were going to learn a lot about Nick Taylor in 2025 and what was in his bag for potentially a bounce back year. Well, big answer here in week number 1, a victory at the Sony Open.
Yeah, some guys just know how to win. They sniff it. They know they're around contention. They know they don't have to be perfect. I mean, you think what could have happened after 15 and 16 over that chip. If you want to talk about odds on 18, he was 150 to 1 to win the golf tournament. JJ Spawn was -700, Rick. Boom.
The fact that JJ Spawn did not win this golf tournament is so crazy.
The fact that Spawn and Jaeger, neither of them,
I
were in the
know.
playoff
I
is
know.
insane, absolutely insane.
It's
And
criminal.
so I think you look at Nick Taylor, when he's around the lead, he knows how to finish. I think this was the 6th time he's entered the final round inside the top 5, and he's won 4 of them. That's impressive. You know, someone that comes to my mind with probably similar metrics, I don't have them in front of me, is someone like Max Homa, right? He's sniffing around. You know, Max is going to put up a good fight. And I feel the same way with Nick Taylor. And going back to the start of the 22-23 season, so the one before last year when they went to the calendar year, he has 3 victories, obviously all playoffs. Only John Rahm, Rory McIlroy, and Scotty Scheffler have more wins than him during that run. There's a bunch with 3, Hideki, Keegan. I'm sure I'm missing someone, but that's heady company.